The first games have been played in the WNBA, and at the top of the defensive rating, the Indiana Fever. So the Fever said they wanted to hone their defensive skills last season. In the offseason, Stephanie White made it a point to drill that idea home. I mean, Caitlin Clark talked about upping her defense, and in the offseason, they picked up a lot of key defenders. They picked up Natasha Howard, who is the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, and last season, the Connecticut Sun came in first in their defensive rating. So what did the Fever do? They took Stephanie White, they took Keith Porter, they brought in Tawana Bonner, and they said, we're doing this right. Now, keep in mind that last season, the Indiana Fever were second to last in their net defensive ratings, with only the Dallas Wings behind them. Offensively, last season, the Indiana Fever came in third, and that is third with Christy Sides, with Katie Lou Samuelson, with Christy Wallace, with a bunch of other people who are not on the team anymore. And well, listen, there is only one in-season game that has been played, so this is not the measure of what is going to happen for the rest of the season because, you know, teams like New York and Las Vegas, two like top seed teams, played each other while Indiana played the Sky, where the Sky are definitely in the middle to lower end, and I'm projecting this, but middle to lower end of the seeding. And so it will be very interesting when the Indiana Fever play the New York Liberty coming up. First, they got to get past the Atlanta Dream and Brittany Griner, but they are at the top of the list. The top of the list after all the games have played, and they are just putting the league on notice, like we are here and we are not going to let an easy bucket get past us. As a matter of fact, the Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky game has put 6 of the Indiana Fever players in the top 10 in the entire league in defensive win shares. And if you don't know what a defensive win share is, it's basically a metric of how a player affects the team, like defensively, when they're on the court. And according to basketballreference.com, guess who's number 1? None other than Caitlin Clark in defensive win shares. Something I never thought I'd be saying last season. And at number 2 is Natasha Howard. Number 3, Aaliyah Boston. So top 3. Then Alyssa Thomas, not surprising. Azrae Stevens. Lexi Hull at number 6, Satou Sabally is at number 7, Bridget Carlton is at number 8, we have Tawana Bonner coming in at number 9, and Kelsey Mitchell at number 10. And again, these are all going to change, and this is after most teams have just played one game, but I mean, after Aaliyah Boston's performance, she got 5 blocks in the game. Caitlin Clark came in with a career-high 4 blocks. And if you're curious about who came in behind them, it was the Phoenix Mercury in second. Kind of surprising, but also not because of Alyssa Thomas. The New York Liberty in third, the Sparks in fourth, which I kind of was also surprised. The Lynx in fifth, the Valkyries in sixth. The Seattle Storm in 7th, the Mystics 8, Chicago Sky 9, the Sun at 10, the Aces at 11, which is surprising and I'm sure is going to change. The Dallas Wings at 12 and the Atlanta Dream with Brittany Griner at 13. Now, the Indiana Fever offense, they were missing layups. The game it was 93-58. That's what the score for the Chicago Sky Indiana Fever game was, where everyone was like kicking off the rust, knocking off the dust. And currently the Indiana Fever sit at 5 in their offensive rating. Not surprisingly, the Lynx are number 1 because, well, Fee and Courtney Williams, who is doing great at the point, by the way. She is leading the league in assists. Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriafin and Brittany Sykes have helped the Mystics secure that number 2 position, and the Dream is at number 3. The Liberty is just above the Fever at number 4. Again, the Fever are 5, the Mercury is 6, the Sun is 7, Sparks 8, the Dallas Wings 9, the Las Vegas Aces at 10. So they're pretty low in the defensive and offensive rating. But, you know, again, I will reiterate that their first game was against the champs, the New York Liberty. The Golden State Valkyries, unsurprisingly, are pretty low. I don't know if any of you have watched the games, but I think they had some astronomically high, like 3-point attempts made. They were just hailing them. I think that at one point in the game, they were like at 12% made 3-point shots. But the Seattle Storm, who looked terrible in their first in-season game, are at number 12, and the Chicago Sky, are at number 13, but that's because the Sky went up against the Fever's defense. The way that I see it, if the Fever can bring the same offensive rating as they had last season, they only need to be like in the middle of the pack defensively. They just need to get their defense a little bit better to contend for a chip or even win a chip, and they have gotten a lot better. And I'm telling you, they brought in Brianne January, defensive specialist. They have Keith Porter, and with Stephanie White at the helm, the Fever mean business this season. And while I was editing this video, Caitlin Clark was asked about the alleged hateful comments during the game the other day.
They're investigating alleged comments or hateful comments from fans towards Sky players. We talked about this in the past. Now it should be an inclusive environment. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, there's no place for that in our game. There's no place for that in society. And, you know, certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, you know, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that since, you know, really day one and what they're doing. So we'll, you know, hopefully the investigation, we'll leave that up to them to find anything and take the proper action if so.
So she refuted them, of course. She answered properly, like there's no place for hate. She's always having to answer for the other hate directed the other way. I mean, the hate that was directed towards Duana Bonner and the hate that was directed towards, you know, the other Black athletes on the team for being on a team with her was pretty vile as well, and it was directed towards their race, you know, just horrible stuff. And she was also asked about the stat padding allegations of her entering back into the fourth quarter, and she basically said she was there to support Duana Bonner so that Duana Bonner could notch third place in the all-time scoring list.
And when you have 20, 10, and 9 on the floor?
Well, I went back into the game to help DB get her into third on the all-time scoring list. If you were watching the game, we were struggling a little bit there to even get her the ball in the half court. So I told Steph, I'm like, let me go in there. It's kind of driving me nuts on the baseline, not watching DB get this. Or on the sideline, not watching DB get this. So that was the main goal. And honestly, just getting to be on the floor and be a part of that, like such a historic moment of somebody that has given so much to this game and the league. But also, I mean, yeah, you can just feel the energy from the crowd. Like they're also just itching for it. And, you know, that's not why you play. But, you know, I feel like that's the part of the game I take a lot of pride in. I want to be able to do a lot of different things for this team. And honestly, when I think I get the ball off of a missed shot, off the rebound, like I think it's other teams have a really hard time stopping us in transition, and I can just pitch it up.
And if that wasn't enough, we have something kind of funny that happened. WNBA reporter Sabria Whitaker has done it again. And she wants Caitlin Clark's triple-double investigated. I don't even know what to say about this. But she takes to Twitter today, posting this. Yeah, so it's bad optics for a star athlete in any sport to get back in the game up 30 to hit a stat that also happens to hit a six-figure parlay of someone they follow and have dinner with, lol. Like that triggers an investigation anywhere, sorry. And we've seen them for less. I don't bet. It's just not my thing. But you know, I know that sports betting exists, like so many people do it. But let's clarify this dinner. This dinner was an event that Caitlin Clark and Dave Portnoy were both at and just so happened to eat at. They are both major figures in the sports world, so they follow each other. Okay. But I guarantee you there are a multitude of athletes that have been at engagements and probably had dinner with people that have made bets on their games. It is crazy how a triple-double that Caitlin Clark did has broken minds. And by the way, this is the same person who was all for Rangel Reese getting her double-doubles and posted this last July. I saw Teaspoon, that was the coach of the Chicago Sky last season, I saw Teaspoon say, hold it, and I'm so glad Kennedy hard-headed LMAO. Like, yeah, girly, we got the W now, we finna get this double-double. And somebody commented back on July 10th, 2024, right after she posted this, saying, legendary stat padding. If Caitlin did that, your tone would be different, I guarantee it. Now listen, I'm fully aware that the hypocrisy goes both ways, but this is a WNBA reporter. You know, reporters are allowed to have their favorites. They're allowed to have fun. They're allowed to celebrate their team wins. But when there are receipts for your hypocrisy in your statements, it's not a very good look. And just a friendly reminder, take take everything that ESPN says with a grain of salt, especially, personalities such as Monica McNutt, who reported on the situation of the WNBA investigation from yesterday. The problem with the reporting is her phrasing, because a lot of people are not on social media, so they do not see that a lot of this has been debunked and a lot of things were fabricated, or they do not watch YouTube to get, alternative opinions. So ESPN is a source of news for a lot of people, and she mentioned the fact that the WNBA had to put out a statement because of racist comments and unsafe conditions in her reporting alludes to the fact that this happened, but does not state that it is based on unfounded allegations and that it absolutely might not have happened. But I went over this morning with Robin Lundberg. We kind of vented a little bit. I see this as definitely lingering throughout the season. Can't believe it happened in the first game. Kind of a bummer. They're playing them this weekend at the United Center, so definitely looking forward to how that turns out. I think it'll be okay. I think that, Angel Reese in her post game, she talked about it being a basketball play. Caitlin Clark refuted anything outside of a basketball play. That's the news for today, though, so I will see you next time.